Baengnyeong Island, the Yellow Sea. The time 1:47 p.m., broad daylight. A small South Korean island under clear skies. Just 8 miles from the hostile North Korean coast. Population 5,000 civilians. Its only defense 200 South Korean troops. Then suddenly, 40 North Korean landing craft exploded over the horizon. They carried hundreds of soldiers, tanks, artillery, all moving at full speed straight for the island. This was no drill. This was an invasion. Kim Jong-un himself had given the order. Seize Baengnyeong Island, plant the North Korean flag, and hold it against any and all counterattacks. His calculation was simple. The island is tiny, lightly defended. It was so close to North Korea's shore that he believed reinforcements could never arrive in time. But he made 3 catastrophic mistakes. First, 600 United States Marines were conducting exercises just 12 miles away, aboard the USS Wasp. Second, 4 F-35B Lightning II stealth fighters were already airborne, patrolling these very waters. And third, America does not let its allies fall, not while its forces stand and watch.
Became the most violent Marine combat operation.
Would become the most
what
violent
happened
Marine
in the next
combat
37 minutes
since the Battle of Fallujah. This is that story. Baengnyeong Island, a lonely outpost in the Yellow Sea, a mere 8 miles from the North Korean mainland, but 40 long miles from its South Korean allies.
For decades,
it is strategically
North
vital.
Korea has
it controls
wanted
critical
this
shipping
island.
lanes, and it monitors North Korean naval activity. For decades, its radar stations have been the eyes of the
vital.
South, and for decades, North Korea has wanted this island. They claim it as their own territory, stolen by the South. An injustice they say that must be corrected. Military analysts have warned for years that if North Korea ever decided to truly test American resolve, Baengnyeong Island would be the perfect target. Small enough to be captured quickly, close enough to be defended by North Korean air power, and isolated enough that reinforcements would be too little too late. At 12:30, M-40 North Korean landing craft, launched from the Yongjin Peninsula,
plus
each one
8
packed with
amphibious
30 heavily
tanks,
armed soldiers,
artillery pieces,
a force of 1,200
missiles.
troops.
This
8
wasn't a
amphibious
raid.
tanks,
This
backed
was
by
an
mobile
amphibious
artillery
assault.
and anti-aircraft missile
Each
systems.
one carrying
This
30
was not a raid.
soldiers.
This was a full-scale
1,200
invasion.
troops total.
At 1:15 p.m., South Korean radar painted the targets. Multiple high-speed
Command
contacts
went to
closing
full
fast.
alert. Fighter
Their
jets
destination,
scrambled.
the strategic
Multiple
island of
contacts,
Baengnyeong.
high speed,
South Korean
heading
command went to
directly
full
toward
alert.
Baengnyeong.
Fighter jets launched.
South Korean
Warships
military
changed course, but they were 35 miles out. A minimum response time of 20 agonizing minutes. The time 1:35 p.m. On Baengnyeong Island, the South Korean garrison, for our 200 soldiers, raced to their battle stations. They had only light weapons, no heavy armor. Facing them, 1,200 invaders with tanks and artillery. The odds were not just long, they were catastrophic.
At 1:42
At 1:42 p.m., a lifeline. South Korean command raised
American
the USS
forces.
Wasp on
This
the
is
radio.
our
An
USS
American
Wasp,
amphibious
an
assault
amphibious
ship.
assault
It was just
ship
12
miles
to the
west of the island.
American forces,
American
this
forces.
is ROK military command.
The response
We
came
have a
in
North Korean
15
amphibious
seconds.
assault in
ROK
progress.
military
Baengnyeong
command.
Island.
North
Enemy
Korean
force estimated
amphibious
at
assault in
1,200.
progress. Baengnyeong
Requesting
Island.
immediate assistance.
1,200
Any and
enemy
all
troops.
available assets.
Request
The
immediate
response came in
assistance.
15
Any
seconds.
available
Cold steel.
assets. The
Rock Command, this is
4
Wasp
F-35s
actual. I have
airborne.
600 Marines
Ospreys
armed and
launching
ready.
now.
4
Help is
F-35s
coming.
are already
ROK
airborne.
command.
Ospreys
This
are
is
launching
Wasp
now.
actual.
Help is on the way.
600
Hold that
Marines
island.
standing.
At 1:47 p.m., the enemy hit the beaches. Landing craft ramps
The South
slammed
Korean
down.
garrison
Soldiers
opened
poured onto
fire.
the sand.
Rifles,
Their tanks clawed their way ashore. The outnumbered
machine
defenders
guns,
opened
anti-tank
fire.
weapons.
Rifles, machine
But
guns, and
1,200
anti-tank rockets
against
tore into the
200.
invaders.
The outcome
But it was
was inevitable.
1,200 against 200.
The South Korean
The outcome
garrison
seemed
opened
inevitable.
fire. Rifles.
In less than 10 minutes, the enemy had secured the southern beachhead. They pushed inland, overwhelming the desperate defenders. At 1:55 p.m., the South Korean commander sent one last desperate message. We cannot hold, I repeat. We cannot hold. The enemy is advancing. Request immediate evacuation or reinforcement now. The Wasp's reply was swift. Reinforcement is inbound. 3 to 6 minutes. Hold your positions. 6 minutes. In combat, it is an eternity. And for 600 U.S. Marines, it was all the time they needed to turn an invasion into a slaughter. 1:58 p.m., 16 MB-22 Osprey. Tiltrotor aircraft roar to life. They lift from the deck of the USS Wasp. Inside each, 24 Marines locked and loaded. This is Marine Expeditionary Unit 31. 600 warriors trained for this exact
amphibious
moment.
assault
Amphibious
against
assault against a hostile
force.
shore.
600 warriors trained for exactly
2:01 p.m. The Wolves joined the hunt.
AH-1Z Viper attack
Viper attack
helicopters followed.
Gunships armed for total
millimeter
destruction.
cannons.
Hellfire missiles.
At 2
Hydra
armed
rockets.
with Hellfire
and
missiles.
20 millimeter
Hydra
cannons.
rockets. And
2:03 p.m. Above them 4 F-35B Lightning stealth fighters. Circle like ghosts. Their mission
flying
dominate the
directly
sky
toward an
and
active
obliterate any threat.
battlefield.
This is the largest American combat aviation force assembled in these waters since 1953, and it is flying
Strike
directly into a war
capability,
zone.
ready to engage.
2:04 p.m., the F-35s make the first move. Their targets are not the landing craft, not the troops on the beach. Their targets are the North Korean
Flying
anti-aircraft
directly
positions.
toward an active
A fatal mistake.
battlefield. Korea's
Precision
air
strikes,
defenses
GPS-guided
destroyed
bombs
before
find
they
their
could
mark.
fire.
North Korea's
Precision
air defense is
strikes,
decapitated
GPS-guided
before it could
bombs.
fire a single shot. 2:06 p.m., the Vipers scream over Baengnyeong Island.
Advancing inland. South
Below
Koreans
them, chaos.
falling back.
North Korean
Civilians
forces are
arrived
already
over
pushing inland.
Baengnyeong.
South Korean
Pilots
defenders
saw
are
the
falling back. Civilians are trapped. The order is given weapons free. Engage hostile armor. Priority clear the landing zones.
Simultaneously targeting
Then
North
suddenly,
Korean amphibious
8
tanks
Hellfire
on the
missiles
beach.
launches one.
Explosions,
They slam into
fire,
North Korean
landing
amphibious
zones.
tanks on the
8
coastline.
Hellfire
Explosions,
missiles
fire,
launched.
armor ripped apart. 8 tanks are turned into burning hulks in just 15 seconds. The invading troops break and run. They scramble for cover, but there is none. Then the sky rains fire. 76 70mm Hydra rockets unleashed in a single salvo from each gunship. A devastating wave of anti-personnel munitions. The North Koreans are caught completely in the open. No protection, no escape. 90 seconds ago, this beach was an invasion point. Now it is a graveyard. At 2:08 p.m., the island became a killing zone. 16 Ospreys descended from the sky. Not on the beach, but deep behind North Korean lines. A perfect flanking position, ramps dropping. Marines poured out. This was not a defensive action. This was an assault. 24 Marines per Osprey. 16 Ospreys meant 384 Marines hitting the ground in 90 seconds. The remaining 200 Marines stayed aboard the USS Wasp, a rapid reaction force held in reserve. But 384 was more than enough. This was Marine doctrine. Aggression, violence of action, overwhelming force at the point of contact. The North Koreans believed they were advancing. Then suddenly they were ambushed from their rear. M4 carbines and M27 automatic rifles erupted. M240 machine guns unleashed a wall of precise, disciplined, and deadly fire. The shocked North Korean troops tried to turn. They scrambled to form defensive positions to return fire. But it was too late. They were too slow, too disorganized. Marines do not give their enemy time to think. They attack, constantly, relentlessly. At 2:13 p.m., the South Korean garrison, seeing the Marines arrive, launched their own counterattack from the front. The invaders were now caught in a vice. American Marines behind them, South Koreans before them. With attack helicopters overhead, the invasion was collapsing. At 2:16 p.m., the North Korean commander radioed Pyongyang in a panic. "We are under heavy attack. American Marines, helicopters everywhere. We need air support immediately." But North Korea's Air Force would never answer the call. American F-35s owned the sky. Any North Korean aircraft entering the zone would be destroyed before it even saw the island. At 2:19 p.m., their last hope died. The shattered North Korean forces attempted a full retreat to the beach. Back to the landing craft, their only way out. But the beach was a death trap. Half their landing craft were already burning wrecks obliterated by Hellfire missiles. The rest were under continuous attack from Viper gunships. Troops desperately trying to board were cut down by waves of 20mm cannon fire from the circling helicopters. At 2:22 p.m., the North Korean commander was forced to make the hardest decision of his life. A desperate voice crackled across an open radio frequency for all units, friend and foe, to hear. "Cease fire, we surrender. I repeat, we are surrendering to American and South Korean forces." The time, 2:24 p.m., just 37 minutes after the invasion began. The battle for Baengnyeong Island was over. The cost for the invaders was absolute. 700 dead or wounded, 500 taken prisoner. Not a single soldier was evacuated. For the U.S. Marines, 8 wounded, 0 killed in action. Their South Korean allies suffered 23 killed and 47 wounded, but the island was secure. The news spread like wildfire. Within hours, the entire world knew North Korea had made a fatal gamble, trying to seize sovereign South Korean territory. And in just 37 minutes, U.S. Marines had utterly crushed them. The final tally was staggering: 500 enemy soldiers captured, 700 more listed as casualties. From Pyongyang, a deafening silence. No news reports, no official statements, not a whisper of propaganda. Because how do you spin a catastrophic defeat? How does a regime explain the loss of over 1,200 of its elite troops in less than an hour? You don't. You simply pretend it never happened. But satellites do not lie, and the international media broadcast the truth for all to see. Images of shattered North Korean landing craft, lines of surrendering soldiers, and victorious Marines holding the line. The global reaction was swift and decisive. Headlines screamed across the globe: U.S. Marines annihilate island invasion force. Pyongyang's amphibious assault ends in total disaster. Kim Jong-un's worst military defeat in a generation. South Korea's president addressed a stunned but grateful nation. They attempted to steal our land. They failed. American forces responded in mere minutes. Our alliance has never been stronger. Japan immediately deepened its defense cooperation, offering expanded basing for U.S. Marines and planning new joint exercises. But across the sea, in China, Pyongyang's only major ally issued a cold brief statement. All parties should exercise restraint. The message was clear. Beijing was not defending this reckless act. Kim had gone too far. And then there was Russia. Another of North Korea's supposed military partners said nothing at all. Because in the cold calculus of global power, there is no profit in defending a spectacular failure. The 500 captured North Korean soldiers were now prisoners of war. Under interrogation, they revealed a shocking truth. They were told Baengnyeong Island was lightly defended, a fatal miscalculation. They were told American forces would not respond. They believed the island would fall in just 2 hours. Instead, they walked straight into a U.S. Marine Expeditionary Unit, attack helicopters, F-35 air support, a wall of steel. Intelligence sources confirmed a complete disaster. In Pyongyang, there were crisis meetings. Kim Jong-un was furious. His military commanders pointed fingers, desperately trying to shift the blame. The invasion was meant to be a demonstration of North Korean strength. It was meant to prove they could seize territory at will. It was meant to show the world that America would not intervene. The reality: 700 dead, 500 prisoners, and 0 territory gained. It was a complete and total humiliation. Within days, North Korea's military posture changed dramatically. The provocations dwindled. Naval activity was reduced. There were no more threats against the islands. Because Kim Jong-un learned what happens when you try to launch an invasion. While United States Marines are on watch, they don't just watch. They fight and they win. So why does Baengnyeong Island matter so much? It's more than just one failed invasion. It's because this battle revealed North Korea's fatal weakness. They cannot project power beyond their own borders. 1,200 troops and their tanks, their artillery, their amphibious assault. It should have been overwhelming. Against the 200 South Korean defenders they expected, it might have been a success. But against 600 U.S. Marines with air support, it was a suicide mission. This is the problem North Korea cannot solve. They have a massive military, but it is a fortress army designed for defense. Not for offense. A real invasion requires logistics. It requires air superiority and naval support. It requires sustained operations. North Korea attempted all three. They failed at all three. Their landing craft were obliterated. Their air force was a no-show, unable to respond. Their troops broke, and then they surrendered. This is the reason military analysts now say North Korea can make threats, but they cannot conquer. They can unleash missiles and artillery. They can cause destruction, but seizing and holding territory, that is impossible as long as American forces respond. And American forces will always respond. This is the ironclad meaning of a military alliance. South Korea does not fight alone. Japan does not defend alone. Any attack on an American ally is an attack on America itself. The battle for Baengnyeong Island proved this to the world. The invasion began at 1:47 p.m. By 2:24 p.m., 600 Marines were on the ground turning the tide, fighting and winning. That is the overwhelming power of forward deployed forces. Marines staged on ships, always ready, always close, able to bring the fight to the enemy in mere minutes. In Beijing, China watched this very carefully. If United States Marines can crush a North Korean invasion, in just 37 minutes, what happens if China attacks Taiwan? Taiwan an island just like Baengnyeong, but an island with far greater American military power nearby. The battlefield math does not favor the invaders, not when they face modern Marine forces. But here is the chilling warning from that day. This battle brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Kim Jong-un possesses nuclear weapons. When his conventional invasion was shattered, he could have escalated, threatening atomic strikes. He could have demanded a complete American withdrawal. The fact that he didn't reveals a crucial truth. Even a madman like Kim knows nuclear escalation means total suicide. But the next time there could be a different commander, a different crisis, a different fatal decision. Baengnyeong Island is now the most heavily defended piece of land in all of Korea. Thousands of troops and advanced weapon systems. A state of constant readiness. Because if North Korea ever tries again, the response will not be 600 Marines. It will be 6,000. 1:47 p.m. North Korea invades Baengnyeong Island. They committed over 1,000 troops with tanks and artillery. 2:24 p.m., 37 minutes later, the battle is over. The results: 700 North Korean casualties, 500 taken prisoner. The Marines, victorious. Mission accomplished. Today, Baengnyeong Island stands as a fortress. United States Marines are a constant rotating presence. Its South Korean defenders are heavily reinforced. This island will never fall again. As for the 500 North Korean prisoners, they were repatriated through a neutral nation. Their fate inside North Korea remains unknown. But Kim Jong-un learned a valuable lesson that day. He has not threatened the South Island since. He has not launched provocative amphibious exercises. And the loud threats of invasion have fallen silent. Because now he knows what happens when you invade. When Marines are nearby, they come, they fight, they win. 1:47 p.m. The end of an invasion that lasted only 37 minutes. The story of the Marines who ended it in a single battle. The message sent to Pyongyang was loud and clear. Try it again, we dare you. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always ready, never defeated.